Welcome back, everyone, to the Eurosatory Lab, where we're going to introduce our next guest for the inaugural keynote of this event. Our next guest is Emmanuel Chiva. He's the director of the Defense Innovation Agency. He's also a member of the Directorate General of Armaments Executive Committee. As head of the Defense Innovation Agency, he has leveraged his experience in the world of entrepreneurship and startups to implement an open innovation approach towards the civilian innovation ecosystem, creating a one-stop shop and a project-oriented organization serving defense innovation. But enough of me talking. He will be the best explaining his activities. Please welcome Emmanuel Chiva.
All right, so good morning, good afternoon, everybody. I'm a little bit disappointed because I expected like a giant pair of scissors and a ribbon to inaugurate this lab, but I will deal with that. So I would like to thank the organizations for having given me the opportunity to address an international group of startups gathered by their interest in defense in this biggest defense event of the year. It has been like 4 years since last Eurosatory, so I'm very happy to be here today. So seriously, a few words about defense innovation, challenges before us, and the key role I'm convinced that all of you can play. There is something that... Il y a un bruit bizarre, non? Okay. I don't have anything on me, so that's... So innovation is really the key to operational superiority. And the current news, unfortunately, proves us that harnessing innovation is a key to better perform on the battlefield. And the current Ukrainian conflict, and we have here the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense, reminds us that innovation can be both high or low-tech, or non-technological at all. But innovation is a daily reality. And the COVID crisis also proved the decisive role of innovation and innovators for quick answers to major and unprecedented crises. I don't know if you remember, but during the first phase of the COVID crisis, we, the Ministry of the Armed Forces, we decided to issue a call for projects to help us beat this pandemic. It was in April 2020. In April 2020, we issued, the Defense Innovation Agency, a call for projects during 3 weeks. We had decided to save 10 million euros to be able to fund projects in every domain, meaning decision support, vaccines, treatments, and so on. And we thought that we would receive like 100 proposals. We actually received 2,600 proposals. But the key thing is that we were able to process them in 3 weeks, to be able to fund them in 1.5 months. And we invested 10 million euros in 36 projects. Among them, the first rapid PCR, the first low-cost respirators. So it was really a success for big and small companies, research centers, military personnel, and so on. And the lesson learned is that, first of all, we had some processes that were beginning to work. It was kind of a stress test for us, the Defense Innovation Agency. And we learned that innovation is everywhere and key in those times of crisis. So now, back to defense. Beside the dramatic current events, the international context is characterized by multiplication of areas and fields of conflict. We see the re-emergence of the power states. We see the emergence of new areas of conflict. We knew land, air, sea. Now we can add space. We can add seabed warfare that is very deep under the oceans. And we see also the emergence of new fields of conflicts like informational conflicts, cyber conflicts, and cognitive warfare. And all this mixing asymmetric and high-intensity warfare. So as the French Joint Chief of Staff theorized it, we no longer live in a world where you had peace, crisis, war. We live in a world where we have competition, contestation, confrontation. And the world peace actually disappeared of this triptych. And at the same time, we're witnessing deep evolutions in the field of innovation, and specifically within the defense innovation system. So we see this acceleration of innovation with new actors. Like 20 years ago, only the governments and states were able to go into space. Now we see new actors that challenge us on such spaces. To give you an idea of their financial power, Alphabet, which is the house of Google, they spend more than 21 billion euros per year in terms of R&D. The budget defense of a country like Israel is 17 billion. So that gives you an idea. And this acceleration means that there are a lot of opportunities to develop military technologies inspired by the civilian world. But there is also a problem because once we have developed such technologies, they become available to everyone, including our adversaries. So it's one of the things that we do. It's pretty hot here. One of the things that we do is to try to build some bridges between the civilian world, the military world, make sure that we can benefit from such innovations, and make sure that we have the means to protect us against their use by our competitors. So in such a context, we easily understand that innovation is not an option, and it has never been, by the way. Innovation also comes from constraint, and the current international context embodies that this ultimate constraint. It's a continuous, never-ending effort. The post-Cold War context, and the president this morning reminded us that, led most of us let our guards down when it came to investing in our defense, and especially in defense innovation. So let's not make the same mistake twice. And at the same time, let's not give up our ambitions in terms of innovation to this context of immediate crisis. Yes, we have a crisis right now. We should also prepare for the future. So as innovators, it's our responsibility to keep looking forward, progressing, and providing our forces with the next big thing, the next big key capability. So what is the next big thing? We have technological priorities for the defense innovation sector. It's not very surprising if I say artificial intelligence, robotics, space, and the emergence of new space. Hypervelocity and hypervelocity is the ability to go above Mach 6, still being able to maneuver. So it's not an easy sport. Somebody asked me one day, what about the pilot? Well, the pilot is actually a gas when it comes above Mach 20. So hypervelocity, counter hypervelocity, UAVs and drones, and counter UAVs and drones, seabed warfare, how you protect our assets 3,000 meters or 4,000 meters below the sea level, cyber, directed energy weapons, and quantum technologies. There is a real quantum revolution going on, and this is something that we want really to focus on. So, as you're all here innovators, what does the defense sectors need from you? We need a strong ecosystem of innovators of any shape, startups, medium-sized companies, big international groups, labs, research centers. We need and expect the highest level of expertise and the interest in crossing this expertise with the operational staff and with the operational forces. So in the field of defense, innovation can only mature if it crosses, if it meets a mature operational need. It's one of the biggest challenges with dualities since we all tend to judge an innovation using, the TRL, technological readiness level scale, well, we should consider this scale, but also the user maturation, the user readiness. If I want to use a electrical or autonomous vehicle developed for the civilian world in the Sahel region, it won't work. So we need to make those two mature at the same time. So working with the defense sector means working an extra mile in terms of requirements and exigency. And defense is always looking for the next breakthrough technology. And as startups, we need you to keep daring to open new fields of technology and share them with the defense sectors besides the priorities I mentioned. However, I am an entrepreneur. I was not always a government agent, so I actually managed 13 startups. Not very well, since I'm not rich, so maybe something there. So it's better than that I'm in this position today. So be careful, and it might seem counterintuitive. I want to attract you, all innovators, into the defense sector, but be careful not to drown your company in the attraction of the defense sector. It's an amazing technological set challenges, but it's very, very demanding. We have long-term projects. It doesn't matter if we switch a project from 1 year to another. It matters a lot when you're a small company. So we don't want you to adapt or derail your whole business model. You need to come to the defense sector with a clear view of what duality is for your business and make sure that we don't endanger your survival. So this is what I don't want to be too long, because I know a lot of people have a lot to do in such a trade show. But I would like to wrap up by saying that I'm happy to address such an international group of companies, which I seldom have the occasion of doing. It's an occasion to encourage all of you to work as partners, to use events such as Eurosatory to identify potential partners and create new opportunities, hence this Agora here, the Eurosatory Lab. And to the bigger companies that are present today, we need you as Relay to foster innovation by creating quality cooperation with younger companies. There is no opposition between large industrial groups, integrators, and startups. We need both. When those startups develop a technological brick, we need somebody able to insert and integrate them into a weapon system, for example. So we're facing challenges that your presence here proves to be shared by every country present here, building a strong defense for all of our countries, building a safer environment altogether as allies, and the President emphasized that this morning in his address. So more than ever, innovators of all kinds, all backgrounds, have a decisive role to play. We're counting on you as innovators, as company founders, leaders, to participate in defining a stronger defense for the future. So by all means, and I'm talking to people here at the Eurosatory Lab, show us what you've got. And thank you very much for your attention.